I remember a seminar maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and they said you have to lean in to your trials, embrace the pains that you've had in your life. And one particular phrase that stuck out to me was they said you have to turn your tests into your testimonial, because that story of your pain, of your experiences, of your hardships, of your trials and your tests will inspire people. It'll inspire your team, it'll inspire your followers, it'll inspire your family, it'll inspire you. And so last week, towards the end of last week, I was working with a friend around personal branding, how to build a personal brand. And I said, the best way is to tell stories and for people to get to know you, to get to know different aspects of who you are and what you've been through. So I asked, when is one time that you've gone through something really hard, almost given up, and actually come through it? And she said, I don't know. And then proceeded to give me some generic bullshit about resilience and responsibility. And let's just say I wasn't convinced. In fact, I was pretty pissed off. It was the end of the week. But then I said, give me one specific moment in time, one actual specific event where you felt that that it was really hard and you were close to giving up, and where you're just like, that's it, I've had enough. And what she shared after that was, I think, something incredible. And she started off very slowly, and I'll see if I can read it actually. I took notes. This was when I was still a single mother. I was doing 10 papers at uni to try and finish off the degree. And she says, one night it was exam week, and it was a tough week because my baby was sick, so she wasn't sleeping. And so there I was, worried about her and also feeling sorry for myself, how hard exams were and how I had to look after her, and the anxiety of all these tests and what would happen if I failed these exams, and all of these going through my mind while I was trying to comfort her. And as I'm holding her, looking at her, I just understand that I've got no other option. It's just me. And then in that moment, I felt an enormous sense of love for her and just wanting to provide for her and wanting to do good for her. And it wasn't just about me, it was about us. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is a story. That is a testimonial. And so oftentimes we shy away from our story. We shy away from our truth, from what's actually made us what we are. We hide our failures. We hide, the hard stuff that we went through, or we bury it. And it was funny because after she said this story, her husband turned around and said, I have never heard that story before. And I'm like, what? You guys have been married for ages. He goes, I've never heard that story before. And I'm like, wow. And she said, that's because I bury all of that stuff. I try and bury that stuff as far down as possible. And this is our natural reaction as humans. We try to bury all the stuff that causes us pain, and hide away from it. But it's our tests which become our testimonial. Yeah. And you need to be able to access that energy. You need to be able to access that space, that space of openness, where that space of truth, that space where your soul is able to flow and be in alignment, and well, ultimately, you just have to access your story, because if you start burying it, if you start hiding away from it, then you're only working or operating at a small fraction of your whole power and your whole potential. So what do I do? My job is to push people to get to that space, push people to be in that space of truth, so that they can access the whole range of power that they have within their story, the magic that they have in their testimonial, because that's how you create good speakers, good leaders, good business people, good pageant winners, good politicians. Is about being able to harness your story and direct it in the way that you want. And I've seen this as a singer. I've seen this in politics. I've seen this even when I was advising for pageants and stuff. It's all the same. It's all the same. So if you need help with this, if there's something that you're like, man, I really wish that I could do more with my story, or you've got a great story that you want to tell effectively, then send me a message and let's figure out how we can get that out there, because you owe it to yourself and to the world to make that contribution of your story and the fullness of the power that you have within your story, and to let your tests become your testimonial to inspire people into the future.